It's postal package opening day, or in modern parlance, unboxing day. Hi, I'm Irene, and I have a relationship with words. Well, duh. The thing is, it's gotten more complicated as I age up, which is one reason why I plan these voiceovers. So I had like 5 Derwent drawing pencils given to me several years ago. I like to use them for undersketching or highlights and hoped to get a set someday. Well, someday has arrived because producer Mike ordered it from Amazon. There's a quick peek at the other item from that order, a pad of mixed media paper from Rembrandt. That's Rembrandt. Just throwing it out there. But more about that later, since today's art project involves both of these products. That's right, you get to see the pencils and the paper in action a little later in this video. For now, I want to tell you more about the pencils. It's the full set of 24 colors. They're wax-based and delightfully smooth and creamy, at least compared with a lot of other colored pencils. They're wonderfully pigmented and, according to Derwent, highly light-fast. When I say pigmented here, I don't mean bright and summery, because that's not what this is. Instead, these shades lean towards natural and earthy. Oh, this was cool. I actually found one that almost perfectly matches my desk pad. It's called Olive Earth. Yes! Rembrandt is the Royal Talons line of professional grade art supplies. Their student line is Van Gogh. Yes, I know that's not the proper pronunciation, but it's what I grew up hearing, and habits can be hard to break. So while I like to think I've a decent grasp of foreign words and names, at least as much as the next monolingual American, Dutch has me dreading situations where I might have to say Van Gogh in conversation. Both Rembrandt and Van Gogh are Dutch names, of course, but my question is, why the heck don't we refer to Van Gogh by his first name, like we do with Rembrandt and many other artists? This Stettler pencil sharpener is a dual sharpener. That's what I call it anyway. On the Amazon listing, it's described as a double hole sharpener. Not saying I'm a paragon of good taste, just trying to keep things at least somewhat classy here. It works great for all of my pencils, including these. There is an electric sharpener in the studio, but you can overdo it with that thing, because if you get distracted at all, those electric sharpeners can quickly chew your pencil down to a nub. And at more than $2 per pencil, that's not a risk I'm willing to take. It's a steep price for reliving that nummy bacon, egg, and cheddar croissant you had for breakfast. So flaky. Not sure why I lingered on this thing. It's just a pencil sharpener, for crying out loud. A $7 manual one at that. Maybe I was anticipating all the pennies I'd rake in through my affiliate link. Wait, what? It's got 2 holes? The design is based on a simple graphic I created in my sketch/idea book. So this Rembrandt toned paper is 120 pound weight, and there are 50 sheets on the pad. The surface is pretty smooth with just enough tooth for pencil work. I believe it's intended for mixed media use. Now, the term mixed media is nowhere on the packaging, but it literally says drawing, pastel, acrylic, gouache, ink, and charcoal. If that's not mixed media, I don't know what qualifies. Literally is a word I use rarely, since these days it's so often abused. You've heard it. It literally killed me. No, it didn't, Captain Hyperbole. A portion of the footage was deleted because it was barely visible. The initial sketch lines, I mean, because I chose to use the Sanguine pencil on the Sanguine paper. Who could have foreseen an issue with that? By the way, sanguine is the French word for blood, but this color doesn't scream blood at me so much as clay or terracotta. That's the bulk of what I have to say about these products and the process, except I'll add that I really enjoyed working with both the paper and the pencils. I'll even go so far as to say I have zero complaints. The only other toned paper I've tried is from Strathmore. I've used their gray and tan sketch papers, which are lighter in weight and color than this Rembrandt Sanguine. This paper is 15% cotton, but I don't know if that's why I like it. Perhaps it's the thickness that appeals to me, or the mid-tone color. It's a bit of apples to oranges, I guess, since my Strathmore papers are for sketching, while this Rembrandt paper is for multiple, more intense purposes. But that doesn't stop me from mixing them up in my head. Oh, I also have a Strathmore toned blue mixed media pad, but I haven't decided on a project for that yet. Chances are it'll happen in the near future. According to my magic 8-ball, that is. The point is, sometimes I have to remind myself of what's what, like how I have to remind myself of the differences between miso and yuzu sauces. Okay, some backstory here. A few months ago, I discovered the life-changing condiment, Bachan's barbecue sauce. Seriously, I've been using it on nearly everything ever since. Bachan is Japanese for grandma, and it's pure umami goodness. I can find it at my local supermarkets in like 6 different versions. The miso is my favorite. The touch of sweetness reminds me of some past teriyaki experiences. By the way, teriyaki? Change that name to teriyummy. Thing is, I also have Bachan's in their yuzu citrus version, which is less sweet and more bright and tart. Both will work well in a lot of the same dishes. It just depends on whether you're in the mood for sweet miso or tart yuzu. As you can probably guess, there are times when I grab the wrong one. Thank goodness they're both delicious, so there's no crying. But I was in the mood for miso. Yeah, words. I recently watched Godzilla -1. That's the latest Godzilla movie. It's currently streaming on Netflix. When it comes to foreign films, my preference has always been to listen to the original language while reading subtitles. Well, those days may be over. I just wasn't up to reading captions, so I played the dub track instead. It was actually well done, as was the movie in general. Unfortunately, I wasn't in the right frame of mind for heavy human drama, which takes up a lot of Godzilla -1. I could blame it on being tired and lacking sleep, or even on the fact that I'd recently sat on my eyeglasses, essentially destroyed them, like how Godzilla destroyed that naval ship. But honestly, I just wanted some cool kaiju smash and bash. And to be fair, the action scenes were impressive. The way Godzilla charged up his atomic breath blast pretty much blew my mind, figuratively. So eventually I'll view it again with the original Japanese audio, be amazed once more by the spectacle, and shed even more tears at the tragic moments. Hey, I said I wasn't in the mood for human drama. I didn't say I wasn't affected by it. Speaking of drama, you might recall I mentioned spiders in the house in the previous video. Well, that's ongoing. Last week, I actually turned in early because I didn't want to deal with the creepy crawly in my studio. For one thing, it was beyond my reach, even with a rolled-up Levenger catalog in hand. For another, I remembered my brother telling me about giant flying spiders invading the U.S. I'm not saying I believe it, but I also don't believe in the boogeyman, yet I still keep my feet firmly tucked under the covers at night. Don't want anything under the bed grabbing at them. Then, the other day, there was another one. Might have even been the same one, actually, in the corner of the living room. I tried to just let him be while I watched the latest Cat Watches Horror Movies reaction video. I think it was The Lost Boys. Look, big respect to those who have the gumption to scavenge a glass jar, plunk it over the creature, slide a sheet of paper beneath it, then lift and carry it out the front door to release it into the wild. That takes some steady nerves, which I don't always have. So I smushed it with a slipper and went back to watching someone else watching a horror movie. There's some sort of irony there, and I feel so close to getting it. To wrap up this whole spider tangent, yes, I'm currently recording this voiceover in the studio, and I can't wait to finish up and finally get this video uploaded. Because last night I saw several long legs emerge from a pile of stuff on the desk and push some of it aside. I don't think of myself as particularly fanciful, but I could swear it was done with disdain. Bad enough it was there, but to insult my housekeeping too? The upside is I've now cleared off the desk, so there's that. But the heebie-jeebies are lingering. There's a word. Heebie-jeebies, aka the willies, the shakes, the jitters, the screaming memes. Insert your favorite freak-out phrase here. Yes, these things happened, but full disclosure, it's slightly exaggerated. I literally left my studio because of a spider, and I literally smushed one in the living room so I could watch YouTube in peace. The one on the desk, it didn't shove my stapler or anything. It literally just nudged a single sheet of paper. But isn't that creepy enough? So I see Inkworks as a positive art space, but that doesn't mean there's no room for constructive self-evaluation. For instance, looking at this piece now, there are several things I'd have done differently, and that's normal. In fact, I'm going to be super generalizy here and say I think most artists would rarely, if ever, give themselves an A grade. It's identifying what does and doesn't work for us that helps us grow. Keep that in mind on your personal art journey. You might be wondering, Irene, was that abrupt video cut due to you wigging out over mistakenly writing Strathmore instead of Rembrandt? Sorta. Mostly, I just couldn't bear to rewatch it happening. I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed. But I provided enough foreshadowing, I think, so it shouldn't be a complete shock. I ended up using 7 pencils from the set of 24. That's a good sampling, right? Next time, I'd like to use these Derwent drawing pencils in a mixed media project, possibly on one of the many toned papers I now have. Who knows? Perhaps I could pull a switcheroo and call Strathmore Rembrandt as some sort of redress for misaccreditation. Surely that's a thing. So happy to share this session with you. Thanks for watching and sticking around till the end. I expect there was a mass exodus once the spider story started. But hey, I'm feeling better. And if you found value here, please let YouTube know by clicking like or subscribe. Or leave a comment. Tell me about the creepy stuff in your house, and I'll be all, I know, right? They're the worst. Until next time, remember, when it comes to holes, dual sounds better than double. No one likes to be mistaken for someone else, and slippers are a multi-purpose item. Oh, and stay artsy, my friends.